We've wrapped up the month of February 2025. And so we're going to give you your monthly market update for Salt Lake County. And there's a lot to talk about. But this time of year, what I always like to highlight is what I call the seasonality of our market. And it is very typical that we see most of the year's appreciation packed into about a 3 to 4 month period. So it's memorable for people. I usually say, look at Valentine's to the 4th of July. And if in a given year, median price for real estate in Salt Lake County goes up 10%, it's not uncommon to see 8 of that 10% packed into that time frame of Valentine's to July. So let's see what the market's doing so far. So we're going to look specifically at Salt Lake County, and we're going to look at all residence types, including single-family homes, townhomes, and condos. And there's a lot of ways we can look at this data, but this is the report I most commonly like to glance at to see what's going on. Okay, this report will give us the number of units sold, the list price, the median sales price, what that ratio was, a median price per foot, days on market. And so if we compare February of 2024 to February of 2025, in 2024, we had 911 sales, and this February, we had 758. So unit sales are down, but that's not just because the market is slower or something like that. There's a lot of other factors that play into that, mainly inventory. So we'll look at inventory in a minute. Median price last February was $525,000. Median price this February is $537,000. So if you're looking February 24 to February 2025, median price is up just $12,000, which is a little over 2%. However, last February, people on average were getting 96% of their asking price when they sold. And so far this February, based on 758 sales, people got 98% of their asking price. And days on market this February is 45. Last February was 35. So homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer, a few less sales, yet pricing's still up. Now, we need to highlight the fact that pricing is up, because I've heard from many consumers that they'll wait for the market to go down, or because interest rates are so high, at some point it's going to crash, or at least pricing will soften. But we have yet to see that. And interest rates have been up really since May of 2022. In fact, while we're looking at it, I think it's imperative to go back to the peak median price of all time in Salt Lake County, which was May of 2022, where median price was $560,000 and people were getting on average 102% of their asking price. But if we look at February of that year, median price was $515,000. So it wouldn't be out of the norm if in the next 3 to 4 months, we set a new all-time high median price in Salt Lake County. In fact, that's what I'm predicting. I believe that this year we'll see 8 to 10% appreciation. It could go wild and be a little bit more if interest rates come down more aggressively and quickly than people think. But even if they don't, we see seasonal appreciation even in soft years in Salt Lake County. Take the last few years, for example. The bottom of the market in 23-24 last year was 491,000 in December. Then in January, price went up to 500, February 525, March 525, April 540, May 545, June 550, and by peak July, we hit 555. So we went from median price of 491 up to median price of 555, a $64,000 gain, which is 13% in 7 months. And that was in a slower, softer year where unit sales were down. It wouldn't be uncommon for us to see that again. Yes, now median price backed off in August, September, October, and November last year, but it never backs off the amount that it appreciated. In other words, we went from 491 to 555, and then we back down to 514. There's a famous saying in real estate that you can't time the market, and I think that's absolutely false. There are seasonality gains and busts in markets, and that is very common in Salt Lake, and we see it almost every year. If you're really trying to time the best time to buy based on median price, you'd want to buy between November and February of any given season. And if you want to sell, you really likely would try to sell sometime in March to July. Now, why would I say March instead of just waiting till July? Because a lot of people wait till June or July or end of May to put their homes on the market, and then we see an increase of inventory. So although you may get top price, it gets a lot more competitive. There's more negotiation going on. There's quite a few more listings for sale. The other thing we got to factor into this when we're looking at the market in an all-encompassing view is inventory levels. And right now in Salt Lake County, there's 2,153 homes, townhomes, and condos for sale. And there are currently 1,168 in escrow to move towards closing. Another way to say that is the absorption rate of properties right now, there is less than a 2-month supply of all housing in Salt Lake. That includes luxury. If I was to remove luxury properties, say over 1.5 million, there's even less than a 2-month supply. There's like a 45-day supply of housing. So that's the key factor. It always results back to economics 101, supply versus demand. And although interest rates have been high, although people think it's not a good time to invest, although everyone says it's expensive, prices have still gone up and inventory has remained extremely low. We won't dive into all the reasons for that, but that's what's going on in Salt Lake County. The reason you're not seeing this in data and articles yet is if you run an absorption rate based off of what has closed in the last 30 days, there's only 806 closings versus the 1,168 in escrow. In other words, the escrow period gives us a little crystal ball to predict into the future what's going on in the market. And we've already seen in February of 2025, the amount of properties going into escrow increase rather drastically from where it was during this past holiday season. In fact, under contracts are up about 50% from where they were 6 weeks ago. To put that in layman's terms, early shopping buyers are out shopping, they're contracting properties. We didn't see here at Team Utah Cribs any multiple offer situations in November, December, and January of this holiday season. And in the last 5 weeks, we've been in 3 multiple offer situations. And one of them was on a listing that we didn't lower price and has been on the market during the entire holiday season and got no offers. And then all of a sudden, in mid-February, we had multiple offers on that listing. So the message to potential buyers, especially if you don't have a home to sell and you're looking to buy and you're waiting for the right house to come along, unfortunately, the homes you're currently looking at are only going to get more expensive and you're going to see more competition. And the inventory is going to look crummier and crummier for what you're shopping for as you move into spring, summer. And it's very likely that in this 4-month time frame, we're going to see median price go up somewhere between 8 and 10%. So if your price right now is 600, the same houses you're looking at or similar quality are going to be 650, 660, somewhere in that range by June. The message for you sellers: if you know you want to sell this year, regardless of whether you're upgrading, that's a different discussion. But if you know you want to sell and you're trying to time everything perfectly, well, you're going to have more competition as we get to May, June, and July. So I think it's ideal to list your property right now up until mid-April and to overprice just a little bit. We haven't been able to say that to clients for 2 or 3 years. But this is a market environment where I think you can overprice a little bit. I'm talking somewhere in the range of 5 or 6% from what the comps say. And then the strategy should be to lower price in little amounts. I like to lower 1% every 7 to 10 days. And as the spring market ramps up and you overpriced a little bit, you're going to hit that perfect equilibrium where you get top dollar for your house. You don't have as much competition. You were out there before a lot of other homes got on the market. And I think that's your best strategy, especially if you're going to take that money and go buy something else in the same market. Yes, you may not have sold for top dollar if you sell in April versus June. You may have missed out on 3 or 4% appreciation, but you're going to make that up on your next purchase, especially if you're going up in purchase price. Okay. We're always available for your questions. And you know our slogan here at Utah Cribs. We educate you so you can make an educated decision when it comes to your real estate.